life.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
It's a serious question.
Sorry.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
Devil is
Was
somebody
the devil
knows
smart?
the devil's brilliant.
No, the devil scares me.
Jeffrey Epstein is one of the most high-profile and dangerous offender in U.S. history due to the scale of his crimes, his vast wealth, and his network of high-profile associates. Epstein's case is viral on the internet, and most of us probably knows about this creature. This photo shows a young girl kissing his cheeks. The girl's face was blurred by CNN, but an unredacted version was on the DOJ website for days. There was another photo that shows a little girl perched on Epstein's shoulders. A photo of him flaunting his temporary tattoo while giving a smile to someone appears to be a child. And here shows him photographed with a man holding a young girl while posing with Piglet. It seems he began his evil scheme in 90s with the help of his ex-girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, and some other unknown associates. Ghislaine lured young girls to Epstein's mansions with a bait of giving $200 for just a massage. Later they did know that $200 could lead to abuse.
And when we walked in, he asked for a massage, which I knew that was what I was going there for. And he asked me to do certain things that I was not expected to do. And those things made me feel very uncomfortable.
Both Epstein and Ghislaine enticing their victims to roam around the mansion. There, young girls saw these disturbing artworks, like this one, shows a group of children in compromising positions. A quasi painting depicting children's beauty pageant, a gaulish sculpture of a bride clinging to a rope in the entryway, a photo of a girl that seems to be innocent but painted wearing a latex knee socks. And another disturbing favor from these two is to have their young victims wear these childlike roleplay costumes. One video released by DOJ shows a girl that appears to be preparing herself for someone. Epstein was a filthy rich. He took advantage of his desperate victims, many of whom came from unstable or dysfunctional families. Sad but true, many victims returned to his mansions multiple times, even after repeated abuse. The pyramid scheme of exploitation where victims conditioned to recruit other girls. Creating a self-sustaining network that allowed him to exploit hundreds of young women and girls at his properties.
Just because I did go to him and I went back to him several times on my own will, and then because I also brought other girls, I brought my friends, underage as well to him. So, I just hold a lot of guilt and shame for doing those things, and I know how I felt. I would say at the minimum 50, but anywhere from 50 to 70 girls. I know that. I can't remember the exact number now, but the same ages of me, 14, 15, 16. For a long time, I didn't identify myself as a victim because I willingly went to Jeffrey over and over again. But over time, just, when maturity sets in and you become an adult and a woman and you have kids yourself, you just look back and you realize that you were definitely a victim and you were preyed on. And
Epstein's death was officially ruled by suicide, but many speculation persists that he's still alive or was killed to cover up powerful individuals.
In my opinion, it was to show off to his friends, to always have a bevy of girls around him. It was like, so going to a dinner party, you bring a bottle of champagne. I was the bottle of champagne. And the other reason, and he's touched on this subject with me before, so I can use the words from his mouth, is that he used me as a form of blackmail. So, these people would owe him favors. So, there was a many of reasons that he did it. But the biggest reason in my mind was because he wanted to always have something on someone just in case he needed it.
The cell where Epstein was found shows scene of disarray, as though there was an altercation. This is the cell where he was found dead on Saturday morning, August 10, 2019. In one photo, a mattress sits on the floor, and orange bedsheets are strewn around the room. Another photo is a close-up of one of the bedsheets that had been tied into a noose. It's not known whether that noose was used in his suicide. CBS reports the photos were taken by the medical examiner, but did not state how they obtained them or how they confirm the photos' authenticity. There are dozens of photos taken by authorities that day. On the floor, piles of sheets and his things all over the place. His medicines, photographed, but no body. The guards say they found Epstein hanging in his cell and immediately called services. They tried CPR him, but he's dead. But rather than leave the body there, they take the body to an emergency room. In their testimony, they found Epstein unresponsive in his cell around 6:30 a.m. in a kneeling position with a strip of a bedsheet wrapped around his neck and tied to the top of his bunk. And that they cut the bedsheet and began performing chest CPR. The removal of his body from his cell was a violation of protocol, as the Bureau of Prisons mandates that the suicide scene be treated with the same level of protection as any crime scene in which death has occurred. Consequently, they also failed to photograph Epstein's body as it was found. When Epstein was placed in the security housing unit, the jail informed the Justice Department that he would have a cellmate and that the guard would look into the cell every 30 minutes. This procedure were not followed on the night he died. The two guards on duty, Tova Noel and Michael Thomas, were found to have been sleeping and browsing the internet instead of performing the required checks. They subsequently lied on official records, falsifying logs to show they had performed the 30-minute checks. They failed to check on him for several hours, with some reports indicating he was left unmonitored for roughly 3 hours before being found. Recent investigations into the surveillance footage from the night of Epstein's death have uncovered several discrepancies regarding missing segments. This was the nearly 11-hour video agents reviewed when they investigated the death of Epstein. Government officials say it's true, no one entered his cell there. One camera recorded the general area, and that camera captured part of the common area, including the officer's station and a sliver of the staircase leading to Epstein's cell. CBS News has reviewed the tape, and this is what it shows. The primary entrance is here, and the pathway from the entrance to the stairs is completely out of view of the camera, leaving ample room for someone to enter unseen. This is the last time Epstein is believed to have seen on camera, but CBS don't see him walking up the stairs to his cell. This image from the video, zoom in and highlighted by CBS News, shows a partial view of something orange on the stairs leading to Epstein's cell tier. Sources say one camera inside the tier, the one that could have seen Epstein's cell door, and the doors of other inmates, but it wasn't working that night. They also question the missing 1-minute footage of the surveillance camera.
And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night.
The jail had also transferred out his cellmate, leaving him alone shortly after he was taken off suicide watch, which also went against the standard protocol. Epstein was moved back to his cell and was assigned a new cellmate. Lawyers say the day before he was found dead, he was upbeat and looking forward to an appeal hearing to his bail. One alarming details of Epstein's suicide attempt on July 23, 2019, 3 weeks before his death. Evidence revealed Epstein was directing money to be deposited in other inmates' commissary accounts in exchange for his protection. Sources say because he feared for his life, but the government says he was dead and in fact made his first failed suicide attempt.
Theories that are out there, one of them is that it was another inmate who may have killed Jeffrey Epstein.
Come on.
You don't believe that?
He was found hanging in his cell. He had tried to commit suicide before that. He was a very wealthy man who was looking at a lifetime in prison. You know, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar.
According to court documents, that on July 23rd, a guard found Epstein on the floor of his cell with a strip of bedsheet around his neck. But Epstein claimed his cellmate, Nick Tartaglione, attacked him. 52-year-old Tartaglione, a former police officer, accused of murdering 4 men. A well-known pathologist, Dr. Michael Baden, hired by Jeffrey Epstein's brother to observe the autopsy and investigate the suspicious death. Baden questioned the initial suicide ruling and argued that evidence of injuries were more consistent with homicide. This is an autopsy photo of Epstein's hyoid bone. Indicates that the late PDF suffered 3 fractures to his neck, injuries that, according to Baden, consistent with homicide than suicide.
Never seen 3 fractures like this in a suicidal hanging. Sometimes there's a fracture of the hyoid bone or a fracture of the thyroid cartilage.
But not 3.
Very unusual to have 2 and not 3. And going over 1,000 jail hangings in the New York City state prisons over the past 40, 50 years, no one had 3 fractures.
But another expert says the neck trauma has been associated with both strangulation and hanging, especially in older men. Epstein was 66. A note, apparently written by Epstein, that was found in his prison cell.
Redacted, kept me in a locked shower. Stall for 1 hour. Noel sent me burnt food. Giant bugs crawling over my hands. No fun.
Dr. Michael Baden says if anyone thought Epstein was suicidal, they wouldn't let him have a ballpoint pen that could be used to harm himself or someone else. The ligature marks on Epstein's neck differed significantly from the orange nose fashioned from the bed sheet found in his cell. Dr. Baden stated that the neck injuries were more consistent with a narrower rope-like material or a cord rather than the thick thorn sheet presented by officials. They also pointed out Epstein's CPAP machine cord could be the weapon.
What I see here is that this noose doesn't match the ligature furrow mark. It's wider than this.
To the naked eye, it looks like there's some blood here, and it doesn't look like there's any blood on this noose.
That's right. This looks like a clean noose that was never used to compress anybody's neck.
There's something strange about Epstein's ligature marks positioned. Hanging usually shows an oblique, incomplete mark above the thyroid cartilage. While homicide typically presents a horizontal, continuous, complete circle mark.
The wound is down here. You'd think if somebody hung themselves, the wound would be maybe up here.
Yes. Most hangings, especially free hangings, the ligature slides up to beneath the jawbone, the mandible. Here it's in the middle of the neck.
Also, the U.S. prosecutors have dismissed charges against the 2 prison guards who falsified records the night Jeffrey Epstein unalived himself on their watch. The 2 have since been silenced about how they found his body. The Department of Justice released more than 2,000 videos and 180,000 images as part of a major disclosure under the Epstein's Files Transparency Act. This includes selfie videos of Epstein making weird and unsettling faces into the camera. There's another one shows him chasing a female around the room. Bunch of photographs of Epstein hanging out with his prominent individuals. And a lot of dancing videos filmed at his face. Even more strange, in one of the videos, you can clearly see a paternity test sitting on Epstein's desk. It's disturbing because we don't know the age of females in the videos. There are also stuffed animals visible in the frame. Note that some of these clips are big materials, including this one, with obviously it involved in the video. Another disturbing video includes unidentified female sitting on the child's lap while tries to pull up her top while she resists as though he's flexing a product online. Even more disturbing, in Epstein's files revealed some emails of what appeared to be a wealthy friend writing to him as though they were giving a review. With all these disturbing files, it is very alarming because Epstein mentioned that he desired to create a baby farm ranch. In the early 2000s, Epstein told scientists, business associates, and acquaintances about his ambitions to use his Zorro Ranch in New Mexico as a base for this project. He reportedly hoped to have as many as 20 women pregnant at a time at the ranch as part of an interest in transhumanism and a desire to create a superior lineage. Although it's not proven active operation, it is treated as a disturbing idea that he boasted about. Imagine if he did it, knowing that he's a pedophile and an exploder. One disturbing speculations that Epstein ordered 2 girls to be buried in his Zorro Ranch after they were strangled to death during rap fetishes. An email exchange, subject, confidential, shows the disturbing detail about the crime. Whether the speculation could be true or not, but one disturbing image released by DOJ shows a man resembled Epstein appears to be torturing a girl. Epstein already shows signs of exploiting his girlfriends. One of his ex-girlfriends admitted she felt used by the financier when they dated back in 1987 to 1988. Patricia Schmidt was 23-year-old the first time they met and was very attractive, corporate woman.
He would ask me to meet clients, friends of his, go to lunch or go to dinner. Looking back now, I think it was very clear to me that it was, I have this attractive young girl, and I think it was just a way for him to say, look what I have. I have to think absolutely yes. I never did, so I wasn't interested in any of these men. But, oh yes, I think it was very much his intent to make that trade.
Even after the time of Epstein's release in 2008, they remained close, and in fact, she emailed him. Another on and off ex-girlfriend, Eva Anderson Doben, a former Miss Sweden, dated Epstein around 1983 to 1991. Although there's no comment from Doben whether he exploited her or not. Following her marriage to Glenn Doben in 1994, she and her husband remained friends with Epstein, and in fact, Epstein was their children's godfather, and they called him Uncle Jeff. Some photographs of them appears to have a family trip to PDF's island. Epstein's longtime girlfriend, 36-year-old Karina Shuliak, is the last person he reportedly spoke to before his death. It was also reported that Epstein planned to marry her. She sent lovesick messages.
I love you very much. You will always have me, no matter what, as long as it makes you happy.
She wrote to Epstein. Despite her lavish inheritance, she will not see a penny, as American and French authorities have decided to freeze Epstein's estate to allocate it to a victim's compensation fund. After all, she was a regular passenger on the Loleta Express, the private jet used by the sex offender to transport his young victims to their abusers. Epstein's past and how he made his money remains murky, but details have continued to emerge about his history.
When I knew Jeffrey Epstein, he was just another kid that was trying to get through puberty and hoping that he wasn't victimized by acne. You know, I mean, he was really, nobody. Back at the time I went to school with him, told a classmate of ours that he would definitely be rich someday.
Jeffrey Epstein was born in 1953. He grew up in a working-class Jewish family in Brooklyn. His mother, Pauline, worked as a school aide and was a homemaker. Meanwhile, his father, Seymour, worked for the New York City Department of Parks and Recreation as a groundskeeper and gardener. Epstein was the older of two siblings. He and his brother Mark grew up in the neighborhood of Seagate, a then working-class gated community in Coney Island. A childhood friend described Pauline as a wonderful mother and homemaker, and neighbors remembered the parents as being quiet and humble. Epstein attended local public schools. He usually earned money by tutoring classmates. Acquaintances considered Epstein sweet and generous, although quiet and nerdy, and nicknamed him Epi. A female friend later said he was just an average boy, very smart in math, slightly overweight, freckles, and always smiling. In the early 1970s, he was a professor at Dalton School, a private educational school on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Students in his classes at the time, who wished to remain anonymous, described Epstein as a young man who dressed flamboyantly, with a thick New York accent, who was very high energy and dynamic. It says he was hired by Donald Barr to teach math and science, although he didn't finish a degree. Barr thought of as nonsense, so promised in the young man who was in his early 20s at the time. Dalton's yearbooks from 1975 and 1976 show Epstein sporting a smile. After impressing parents and students, Epstein was able to jump from teaching the children of Wall Streeters to become a Wall Streeter himself. He left Dalton after just 2 years, accepting a job at Bear Stearns as an assistant to a floor trader. As what I mentioned, Epstein was known for exploiting his girlfriends. Ghislaine's unbelievable journey from born daddy's girl to the world's most infamous pimps. She became close with Epstein in the early 1990s, following the death of her father in 1991. Ghislaine was described as the center of Epstein's global abuse network, with reports indicating she was emotionally and financially dependent on him. It says they were in a romantic relationship from 1994 to 1997, with staff referring to her as the lady of the house. According to her friends, she was desperate to marry Epstein, and despite the end of their romance, they remained close for over 25 years. Ghislaine, now 64, is serving a 20-year sentence for child trafficking and other offenses in connection with Epstein. Incredibly, she took an unexpected role behind bars, a prison teacher. Her current address is the Federal Prison Camp Bryant, and she reportedly has her own classroom in the jail's education department. Her classes focus on female empowerment, teaching his fellow inmates basics of writing, personal finances, and mindset. And that the main purpose of her class is to enhance personal development and life skills of her students. Epstein was already in trouble in 2005 when many victims came forward to police stations.
It was an incident that occurred maybe like three and a half weeks ago with one of my stepdaughters. Found out that ended up being that they went to Palm Beach to a gentleman's house, and they start off by giving this gentleman a massage, and he pays them. If he likes them and he thinks that they're pretty enough, he keeps them around to do other things. Okay.
Did Jeff know anybody's real true age, or he didn't care?
I don't think he cared. He told me the younger the better.
He asked me to take my shirt off, so I took my shirt off.
Okay, so were you in bra or were you topless?
I ended up being topless, yeah.
And he started getting a little excited about it, and he started touching himself.
During the massage, did he ask you to remove your pants, or?
Yeah.
He was eventually arrested in 2008. He served 13 months but was allowed out for work. It says the Florida jail allowed him out for up to 12 hours a day. A closer look to Epstein's world and his island, where he and Ghislaine is believed to have shuttled teenage girls to sexually abuse them. Inside the mansion is a room with what appears to be a dental chair, with 10 ulumas adorning the walls, depicting men's faces. None of the faces were immediately recognizable as public figures. A chalkboard containing words including power and deception. What could this be mean? The release of the Epstein's files by the US government is driven by public pressure, and that the disclosures aim to prove that no one, regardless of wealth or power, is above the law. Meanwhile, no high-profile men mentioned in the Epstein's files have been arrested or charged in the United States. U.S. federal prosecutors consistently maintained that they lack sufficient admissible evidence to bring additional criminal. The reduction of potential criminals while victims remain unredacted in the Epstein's files have made survivors express intense outrage, and that the process re-victimized them by exposing their private details while concealing the identities of alleged abusers and enablers. It says that for the past decade or so, Epstein's files have been used by Democrats and Republicans as a political stick with which to beat each other. There's no doubt that this Epstein's case is for media circus and political purposes only, and the victims' cases were taken advantage of, re-victimized the victim again and again.